Activate Ghidorah Initiative.
All right, so there you have it. This is officially what I have referred to for a while now as the Ghidorah Initiative, a three-headed monster of three remarkable people, three remarkable minds in the sport of natural bodybuilding coming together, working together, and forming that collaboration, across the pond, whatever it may be. But these are the names, these are the people that are coming to the table, coming together, and trying to make very big and positive impacts to the sport of natural bodybuilding. AJ Morris and Lee Kemp and myself, Ryan Sullivan. So it's funny how some of this all came about. I was looking for a path. I was speaking to Lee for a while about advice and everything, and a lot of this all started to kind of, come together at, I think, exactly the right time. The stars aligned perfectly, both on my end in relation to Lee, and then also AJ's and in relation to Lee. So this three-headed monster is I think a very formidable force moving forward for not only just the cliche changing the sport. There is true passion, there's experience here, there is true passion here, there's a drive for innovation and technological and digital dominance, and I think that this is the future.
I agree.
So Lee, why don't you take me through some of your thoughts on this, considering I did not really have any direct link to AJ for a while, but you had the direct link to both of us. So what was your mindset? What was your draw to this? What did you envision seeing here? Because I'm guessing, you had talks with me, you also had talks with AJ. I'm sure the wheels were turning in terms of how to bring this union together and what benefits you think it would bring to the sport of natural bodybuilding.
Yeah, absolutely. The big word for me was synergism. Um, I've been in the sport for a long time now. I've been promoting for 30 years. I've been president of UKDFBA after founding it 15 years ago. Worked with two big world governing bodies, um, and always wanted more. Always felt that there could be more. Um, Felt the pain on a number of occasions of blatantly seeing things that were going wrong, but nobody at the top listening. Um, but also at the same time, not wanting to dilute the sport and just go my own path and, say, I hate everybody, I'm going to do my own thing. So for me, um, I think I see other people developing through the sport, getting into contest promotion, um, remarkable people. I've got, we talk about this all the time, Ryan. We talk about remarkable people. After 30 years, you can walk into a room and you can separate the wheat from the chaff pretty quickly. And, we could talk all day about how we all met and what our backgrounds are together, but from very first meeting, you back in, as early as 2014, I think the first time we met in passing, AJ, who I met the year afterwards as a teenage competitor, I just saw that one day these guys are going to do something big. And it kind of coincides really nicely because I've done 30 years now and I'm kind of a little bit of an old dog that you can't teach new tricks to.
Hmm.
And I don't want to make the same mistake as the people that I've been critical of in the past and become that set in his ways, it's my way or the highway kind of guy. So for me, having the opportunity to work together with people who've got a fresher, more technology, more modern mindset as mine, but still value the old school values that I value, it was like the perfect storm.
AJ, what do you got to say about that?
I mean, I reside a lot with the points that Lee put across there. From my end, I'm just very, very grateful for this opportunity. It's event production, event promotion for me is something that definitely when I started to become a little bit more intertwined with the UKDFBA family is something that I definitely started to have a little bit more of a vision about, especially when I started NBW and I knew that it was going to be a platform that could attract a lot of people and could build community. Being a huge part of going to the shows, spending weekends with Lee, seeing how professionally he did his job and how he built relationships, really inspired me to obviously do something similar. So to be a part of both the mentorship that you guys are going to offer me, especially Lee so far has been a huge mentor in terms of helping me promote my first show, but also just help educate me on natural bodybuilding, help educate me on the space even more. That's something that then has been allowing me to put out better content to my audience, start to have a bit more of a business mind as to how I want to approach things and build something really, really big. And that's ultimately, you know, with the MBW show that we're promoting in October is the start of something that I feel is a gap to be filled, especially here in the UK. A show that's going to be truly outstanding across all platforms, across all sectors that can be thought about within a show. I want it to be something that people aspire to compete in for many, many years. They want an MBW title for, you know, for a long time. There was several titles here in the UK that I know when I was younger, I wanted. I wanted to achieve a UKDFBA British title. I actually have a belt over there that signifies the goal that I achieved. And I want young people to have a similar thought when it comes to the show that we're going to be producing in October. I want people to want to be an MBW champion and the chance to also be a part of something bigger, which we'll discuss a little bit here, but we've also kind of, you know, plugged a good few things towards what the something bigger is also fantastic because I feel like there needs to be a form of unity in natural bodybuilding, and that unity is something that I'm very passionate about. And it's again something that I feel has been lacking in the industry as a whole is unity. So if we can unify natural bodybuilding even more, that's again something that I'm so excited about.
Nice. Now, I want to just clarify because different audiences, I want everyone to be on the same page. So the UK DFBA is the sanctioning body there in this regard. NBW is more of like the production, your production. So NBW is Begic Productions to ANBF, correct?
Pretty much.
Okay, so that's that's the relationship we want people to know that NBW, okay, is that production company under AJ, and then you have the UK DFBA, which is that governing body, similar to me. Begic Productions, the sanctioning body is ANBF, just as Nancy Andrews Presents was with the WNBF. So that I just wanted to make sure that we clarified with that. So now if we want to now roll into what we are envisioning as being something as you know as bigger, and that is that DFBA, the Drug Free Bodybuilding Alliance. And when Lee and I talked about this, you know, which was I'd say long ago, but it really wasn't. But considering how much has happened in the time between, it seems like a decade ago. Um, he was adamant about the A not standing for association. He wanted the A to stand for an alliance because an alliance was a group of, again, autonomous people or autonomous organizations that come together. You're not submitting to this organization that you pay all your dues to and everything like that. Like, this is something that we are coming together as an alliance, and the people who are involved get an opportunity to enter into a different market or a different landscape. So we are planning this year, right, to have some of our events be co-branded or branded DFBA. And one of those events is yours in October, AJ, correct? And
Yep.
mine is the Monster Mash in November. So that, we're inviting over you guys to the Monster Mash. We want that to be known, that pro portion, even that amateur portion. One of the questions was, well, if I'm an amateur and I win a pro card, you're not going to get an ANBF pro card. You would get a pro card from that organization or that federation that is in alignment with the DFBA. I'm not going to give you an ANBF pro card if you're from the UK. The agreement would be, if you won that pro card and you passed your analysis, you would get that UKDFBA pro card, or whoever else decides to come over that's in affiliation with us. So that is the exciting part, about all of this stuff, where you guys get to still do your own thing, but we all we all come together like Voltron and do what we have to do and create these other events, and we create this excitement.
Absolutely. I mean, with what I said to you in the beginning, the A
Yeah.
and alliance. Alliance is the word alliance indicates friendship. It indicates cohesion. It indicates being comrades with each other.
Not
That's what
subservient.
Exactly. We're not subservient to some old set of rules that should have been changed years ago. We're not subservient to, a lack of vision with changing things for the better. We can all come together. We can all decide what we're doing together. And the same way, like we agreed, if an athlete from the United Kingdom comes over to the MASH in November, and they become pro eligible, in the past, you know pro cards were being dished out to people from other countries, and then they pay that to the world governing body. They're no longer a member of the home association.
Yeah.
So that athlete no longer has a contributory sort of role to the home association, and they become, property of a world governing body that, to the most part, I've found doesn't really care about people. And my biggest issue over the years, and I'll be totally honest about it, is that I have seen our association, UKDFBA, just be used as a cash cow for some private company with somebody at the other end of the line that wants our money, whether that be pro card fees, whether that be sanctioning fees, whether that be whatever. The DFBA model, the alliance model, completely nullifies that. The DFBA portions of the events will be self-funded, self-generating, non-profit events. Pro members remain members of their own association, but are eligible to compete in the DFBA. If people out there want to say they're doing this for the athletes, then I've said it a number of times with running UKDFBA as a non-profit. If you're really doing it for the athletes, stop taking money. And now we've put our money where our mouth is, and we're doing it worldwide. So bring it on.
Yeah. And I do think that, again, it all comes back to that concept of the remarkable person, the remarkable mind. Those are going to be the people who drive things forward. And the reason why I like the alliance model and autonomy is because I like freedom and autonomy. I'm not, you don't want people going off rogue and doing wild stuff, but everyone is from a different culture and a different landscape, and I think that those people should remain autonomous and then have agreements for when we come together, like, okay, hey, we gotta compromise and agree on things here. But what I started to realize is I felt like a lot of the remarkable promoters that over the years I had learned of and met and talked about with Nancy, all of those people had their own brand, their own organization and stuff like that. So it's like, once you force them to strip away that identity, almost start from scratch, put someone else's logo up there, and then just put their country name, it's an autonomous, a remarkable mind is never going to want to do that. So I did start to see that a lot of the people who started going with that model were not. There are some good ones. I'm not bash. I'm not. This is not bashing everyone, but I just did to see that type of correlation between. Oh, okay. Like all these guys that I know and these women who are like hitters and great thinkers, they don't want to fall into that system of like, oh, we bend the knee to the central power. It's, that's why I like the idea of the alliance, because you're everyone keeps that autonomy. They keep their brand. They keep something that's unique and special to them.
Absolutely. I mean, as we've discussed many times before, and I've been quite open and honest about on other media outlets, the culture thing, I've been with governing bodies in the past who've asked me to do things to be in line with their rules that are against the law in my country. And when I couldn't do them and wouldn't do them because I refused to break the law, I was told, well, if you don't do those things, you can't be part of the association, the federation, sorry. And then you've got, and the brand thing as well. I think it takes a lot more. There's a lot more respect and kudos in building your own brand than piggybacking somebody else's. Um, I could, let's say in 10 years' time, DFBA is as big as we want it to be, and somebody wants to form, DFBA Luxembourg. They're not gonna have the true pride of growing their own brand. People are gonna go to that brand because of the DFBA name. They're piggybacking somebody else's reputation. Um, we all have got our own brands here. We're all people who've developed our own brands, and I'll be honest, I've suffered from it. I know you have, Ryan, and AJ. I know you have as well. Somebody's tried to copy us.
Oh,
Somebody's taken credit for what
Jesus.
we've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've all had some cheap imitations go out there on the
Yeah.
market, haven't we?
Yeah.
And what better way to flatter somebody than to copy them?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to. I've never wanted to franchise our association, and I've never wanted anything but an individual product in here in the UK, and that's what we've got.
Yeah. And in terms of that imitation thing, like I see that a lot. I see that a lot. I've gotten that a lot. But the beauty in, and here's the thing, us three, we're not the only people involved with the DFBA. It's
No.
just this is, our own thing right here. And I'm very close with Lee, and this made sense for me. Um, People can try to copy. It's going to happen, but what I see, at least in this three here, is something I don't think would be reproducible. I don't see a group of three people that would bring the experience, the knowledge, that expertise, plus the consistency. When I think of AJ, I didn't really know much about AJ, and again, I'm going to do a deep dive, okay, when I start going. It's like, let me learn everything about this fucking guy. All right. So much passion, passion, the consistency, I can tell there's probably days he does not want to be doing that shit, but he's doing it. Okay. The consistency with the videos, the education, all that stuff. Those are things that, like, I wish I could do. I don't have that. I have other talents. I have other things that I can do. But that type of passion is just, I don't think it could be reproduced. And in terms of me, I don't think people can touch me in the things that I'm exceptional at. And again, I'm going for technological dominance, digital dominance. That is where I'm going. So if you have three people like us together, and we make things work, and again, keep the shoulder to the wheel and be consistent, I think that this leads to a lot of great things. I could not think of two other people that I would want to be involved with in terms of, just, you guys are cool to talk to. You guys are, down to earth, logical, but in terms of people who fit the puzzle where I'm missing maybe some of those pieces. It's like this three here, I feel like balances each other pretty well. And there's a lot of strengths and there's a lot of talents here. So I think people will be watching and paying attention. This is not some dud, announcement. I think this is a big deal.
Well, I mean, if you look, talking about a deep dive, AJ, do you remember 2021?
Yep.
Was it 2021 or 2022? 22. Shortly after your son was born, Ryan, shortly,
Yeah,
shortly after Axel was born.
the bear.
And you were going to be in the same place as Ryan, weren't you? Over in the
Uh-huh.
States in November, and I wasn't going to be there for a number of reasons. And I bought Axel a gift not long after he was born, and I gave it to you at the airport and said, when you get there, find a guy called Ryan Sullivan, introduce yourself, and give him this. Tell him it's from me. That wasn't just about giving his son a gift.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was about you being introduced to Ryan.
I was taken so off guard by that. I was like, what is happening right now? And then it's like it slowly came to because my mind is in like 30,000 different places that day. And I was like, I get it. I get what's happening here.
I wanted you two to meet. We had no idea that this was going to happen. We'd had no idea that we'd be sitting here today. But I just knew that there were these two incredible minds on opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean that needed to meet each other and be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what that was all about. I didn't know where it was going to go at the time, but I just thought there's these two huge energy sources here that need to join forces and be on the same side.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
and
see. I see that sowing of the seed. And I totally agree with what Ryan said about us all coming together with different strengths, different weaknesses, but weaknesses we're actually prepared to work on,
Yep.
weaknesses that we're not afraid to outreach for,
Yes.
which I think is huge because it's very easy when you're trying to build something big to have a bit of an ego towards something. But the more open-minded you are, the more, able you are to outreach to others that are better at something. Man, you can't beat that. You can't beat that mentality if you're also very strong at something else. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be surrounded by you guys.
Yeah. And to piggyback off that, I think a big part of this is also patience. Patience. I'm known as not being a patient guy. I'm actually very patient. I lose my patience with the little things. You know what I'm saying? Like with the little things, but patience. Like as long as I feel we're patient and we're open and we're transparent about our moves, then that's the key. Just tell the truth. If you try to do something and rush something too fast and you underdeliver to the athletes, then you do a disservice to the athletes, you do a disservice to what we're trying to build, you do a disservice to each and every one of our brands. If you're open and you're transparent and you're honest, saying, hey, listen, we are working on this. Be patient. Come along for the ride. We are figuring this out. We are taking this in organic steps. I don't want to, I'm not someone who moves slow, obviously. I'm not someone who's ever had, paralysis by analysis. And there are some times where I'll just go and run and I'll get knocked down. And I know that in that certain situation, I can go so fast, fail, but regroup so quick that it doesn't even seem like a failure. This is something bigger and grander. So we all are being, I want people to know we are being prudent with this. There is no rush to match something or another organization or another show. We want this
Right.
to be truly organic. We want to truly try to find this out. We don't want to put any of ourselves in a position where we're doing something we don't want to be doing. We lose the gift, we lose the passion. Patience is, I think, a virtue with a lot of this, which is people probably hearing me say this probably gonna think like, what is he saying? Because they know how I am, but this is something that needs to be nurtured. It needs to, and we need that transparency. We just got to be open with people. Like, obviously we'd like to have, at least over here in the States, that end of year separate show, whatever we'd like to deem, but it's just not in the cards this year. So
Not this year, no.
I think the perfect compromise is Monster Mash has traditionally been a 2-day show with some historical precedent of people coming over to that show So if you piggyback off of Monster Mash and you open it up to that foreign DFBA thing, the Monster Mash on at least Pro Day, you're not going to get a Monster Mash or ANBF Pro medal. If you place, we're gonna get separate medals. You will get that DFBA medal. My overall pro awards you're pretty much stuck with, but I can guarantee you will not be dissatisfied with that. I promise. If you get one of those, you will not care what it says on there. But I think that is the key, is just being patient and letting this organically happen and let the talents start to grow. And I think that's the best way out of it. So I think we are making the right moves and the right decisions, going forward. AJ, your show is it's October what? It's
11th and 12th.
11th and 12th. Okay, yeah. So we got time to plan. Obviously, we got time to sort things out, but in the meantime, I do feel like we are on the right track. Things are coming together. This is a big announcement. It will get people talking and asking about it, and I think this is a good thing.
Well, patience, like you say, patience, Ryan. I I think the very worst thing that we could have done from the off is to tell everybody we're going to blow everybody else out of the water. We are world's number one. Come
Yeah.
on, we've all heard that before, and we've all seen it fall very, very flat.
Yeah.
What we've got is we've got a lot of brands that are working together here. We've got Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide. We've got the UKDFBA with my 30 years of contest promotion experience. We've got Team SUF, Begic Productions, and we've got a
ANBF.
platform, the ANBF, of course, with which one of the most passionately run governing bodies in the States, with one of the presidents behind it in Kent, who lives and breathes bodybuilding. He embodies what the DFBA is all about. Freedom to compete where you want, do what you love, and be treated properly. Kent is a role model for the DFBA. But between us all, people can look at this, and what we want to do is we want to build a brand that can be trusted. And the first step we've taken is that we've built it with brands that can be trusted.
That's
Everybody knows what you turn out. Everybody knows what you turn out, AJ. Everybody knows what they get when they come to us. Everybody knows that I've been promoting international contests and hosting international athletes since 2015. We've hosted a world championship here in this country with athletes from over 20 countries here. Legit. We know that the Monster Mash is an institution in bodybuilding. The Monster Mash brand, and let's make no mistake here. Yes, Nancy built that Monster Mash brand, but she wasn't going to hand it off to any old tomato can. She handpicked Ryan Sullivan to be the person to carry on that Monster Mash legend. That means a lot. There are probably 300 promoters in the United States who she wouldn't have touched with that show. That's her baby. This is the queen of bodybuilding here, one of the greatest show promoters that's ever lived. And she saw the same thing in Ryan Sullivan that I saw in him, and knew that he was the guy to take it forward into the future. So, yeah, we got some solid shows this year that, despite being rebranded, have a history of being contests that people want to be part of, that they fly from other countries to be part of. They're both going to version 2.0. They're both going to be bigger and better than they've ever been before, with respect to the previous versions. And by the end of 2025, people are going to look and say, you know what, I was skeptical about this idea, but I better jump on board before the boat sails.
Yeah.
And then next year, then you'll see what this great meeting of minds can produce.
I agree. So, AJ, closing statements. What do you got to say about your show?
Okay, so I mean, already since the idea was discussed between me and Lee that I would be even thinking about producing a show, it was all systems go from my end to get the best people I know in the business to be able to come and help me with this show. So, I mean, when I think of going to a show as an athlete, one of the first things that I think about is like what my experience is going to be like from the moment that I walk into the door. So I mean, first and foremost, it's taking care of the athletes and their time and the coaches and their time.
Yep.
So that's why we already go for a 2-day show within the first time that we run this. Well, in fact, 3 days if you count the fact that we're going to have registration on a Friday, which, yes, it takes more time, it takes more money, it's hiring a venue for longer, it's all of these things. But we also don't want to be coaches sat in a venue at 2 a.m. We also don't want to be an athlete waiting to get on stage at 1 a.m. So we take care of the athletes. We have a schedule that makes sense. We have a timeline that makes sense. We have a venue that also kicks ass. You know, we have a huge venue. I think the general production, the stage, the live stream, the media packages available, all of the process is going to be targeted at being a premium show. You know, where you basically look at your packages that you've got over the course of the season, and it stands a good chunk ahead of that. It's the premium level. We want people to experience that. So that's what I'm really trying to bring together. As you said, this is a game of patience, and I am more than aware that the first rendition will have things that we can work on.
Yeah.
I'm going to be comfortable for any bits of feedback. And I've already used my team, not just primarily Lee, but my entire team of my network, you know, my clients, my athletes, the MBW team that I have, full of people that have been in the sport for decades and traveled to numerous different shows, numerous different federations, and use them to build in things that, okay, like, what was the weakness of this show? What was the strength of this show? Let's build all the strengths together and let's put them into this. So yeah, I'm really thinking about everything I can possibly think about. Also, at the same time, building up a really good array of sponsorship from a strong set of brands that really have natural bodybuilding at the forefront for them as well. So we can form collaborations, drive obviously more finance towards the show, drive a better show over many, many years, and just give back to the athletes and make it killer. So that's the objective. That's what's in the works. I feel like we're already a good bit ahead in terms of a lot of the planning, and I'm pumped. I'm excited. I said to Lee, I don't know when it was, but I said to Lee that I'm struggling to sleep, and it's not because I used to be a guy that would struggle to sleep when I was on prep because I'd just be excited to go and train the next day. I've done that for a long, long time, training the next day.
Yeah.
And now I go to bed and I can't sleep because I'm thinking about the show. So I'm really excited about it. And I feel actually very invigorated by the next step in my journey as, you know, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. You know, this is an exciting thing for me. So yeah, I'm pumped.
And as well as that, there's kind of like a little bit of a parallel universe here in the UK, isn't there, with what Ryan and not Ryan and Nancy's relationship, in that what has now become the MBW International, that was my flagship event.
Yep.
You know, that was my baby. That was something that was very, very dear to me. So, you know, please be assured, you know, and whether people listening into this view it as a good thing or not, I handpicked my successor. You
Mhm.
know, I handpicked the person who I knew could take this forward, maintain the values of it being a rock solid contest where people were treated well, but take it to the level that I didn't know how to take it to. And I am absolutely chomping at the bit to be there. I really am, because I know that AJ's going to knock it out of the park. I really do.
Let's fucking
Grateful for it,
go.
Lee.
Let's fucking go. Right? Let's go. I'm
Future.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm a little different than AJ. AJ tends to stay on the more positive side. I have a lot of the other energy. But that other energy works to my advantage too. I will look at something and I am just very good at finding everything wrong with something. It could be anything. I could find it. And I use that. It does become a weight on me at times. I have gotten better at balancing that and understanding how to use it as a strength. And when I want to turn it up, if I need an advantage, I'm going to turn that negative dial up and pick myself apart. So I know I come raging out with something to combat my own criticism. It's a very weird internal thing I have, but I use it to my advantage. And I have just been making notes and checking them twice of every little thing that I have seen that has probably bothered me about events. And the positive stuff is easy to identify. It's just when you start to get into the details, like, oh, misstep. Was that misstep an accident, or was it just was it an oversight? So I am approaching things the way I know how to, and it's just find the negatives and turn them to positives. You can't turn a negative into a positive unless you clearly identify the negative. And for whatever reason, my genetic talent is identifying the negative.
Well,
Love
one of the biggest problems I've always had, especially in recent years as a promoter, and I'll be honest about this, is I have a vision for things that will make things better, but I don't pull the trigger on them because I don't want to make those mistakes because they're things that I'm not quite capable of doing properly. And I think that's probably going to be, we talk about the people coming together that need to work together. You guys can do those things, but in the background, the old guy can sit here and say, "Don't worry, it's going to be fine. You've
Which
got
is
this."
which sometimes I've needed. Like you, on a personal level, I have needed that. There have been times where my climb and my journey for even me has been, oh God, like I don't know if I could do this. And I've gone through a lot of very complicated tasks and projects in my life. And my journey to this spot right now sometimes seemed even more challenging than a lot of other stuff. And if people know about my house and the outside, that was probably the biggest challenge I've had in my life. There were times where I was just like, I don't think I can do this. This curveball after curveball, people are throwing roadblocks at me. They don't want me in for specific reasons. As I don't know. And whenever I had that doubt, I would talk to Lee, and I was back to business.
And what did I tell you back then? And it's funny you should mention the house because I remember it as clear as day, mate. When you said to me, I've got this opportunity to take over these legendary shows and I've got no home to take them to. And I told you, didn't I? When you wanted your dream house, you didn't go out and buy it, you went out and built it.
Yeah.
So
It
do the same with this.
drove me insane, but I finally got there. So, all right. I like this. I like this direction. I hope that people get a lot out of this. I hope everyone enjoyed the video package we put together to announce this. I like stuff like that. That is part of my brand. So having that and having us coming together and you guys giving me that creative freedom to do something like that, I appreciate that. I appreciate this union. I appreciate this friendship, this partnership. I think we could take a lot of things to the limit, to the sky. And I'm all in. You know me, I'm all in. I'm always working, even if people don't hear from me. I'm always working. So hopefully everyone got a lot out of this. If you have any questions, you can reach out to either of us and any of the other DFBA guys. But in relation to the NBW shows, obviously reach out to AJ and Lee. And for anything related to Northeast Classic, Monster Mash, you can reach out to me, ANBF shows, stuff like that. But I think that we are definitely on the right track here.
100%. I really appreciate both of you guys as well. I appreciate everything you're doing, Ryan. Obviously, Lee knows it already, but massively appreciate Lee and everything he does for me. And yeah, super grateful to be a part of this.
All right. On that note, we're out.